Man, it's your boy Dax, and we back at it like a bad habit, and I'm here with This Is 50. Get the strap.
Everybody, it's Boom, and you know we're back at it with the one and only Dax.
Talk to me, don't lie to me.
Hey, you know, you just dropped a new video a couple days ago called She Cheated Again.
She Cheated Again going viral right now.
Alright, so tell me a little bit about the song. What inspired the song?
She Cheated Again is a depiction of certain events I went through. It's not totally factual, but I made it a little bit more wholesome just to relate to everybody, but it's pretty much my situation.
So, alright, but you got, if you want to look back at look back at the old interview, you'll get the whole background on everything about Dax.
I'll never lie. That's why I always say, talk to me, don't lie to me. I live off that too.
So, but I'm saying you got millions of followers, you got millions of views, you got millions of streams. How is an artist of your caliber is still going through heartbreaks and whatnot? How are you still going through that?
Because, at the end of the day, I'm human. You know what I mean? People always try to say, like, oh no, just because you have this sort of status that you shouldn't go through certain, trials and tribulations. And I think that's just sort of what society pushes on people who start to gain social media. And they start to forget that, we're human too. So that's what I would say, I'm a human being.
Yeah, but so speak on your experience with depression and whatnot, or dealing with breakups. And
I wouldn't necessarily say I was depressed. I think there was a time when I was like sort of just really angry. There was probably, when it first happened, there was a period for a couple of days where I was like, damn, all I want to do is sleep. You know what I mean? But then I got out of that, so I don't necessarily like to say I was depressed. But I knew that putting that in the video, a lot of people would be able to relate to it. And my goal as an artist is to put something into the world that will last forever, so I'm always trying to relate to a massive amount of people.
So, and then do you watch the reaction videos? Like people will be
all the people that react, I know them personally. I've been building a relationship with those people for years, so they're all my people.
How do you feel about the reaction?
Love them. I love them.
So, and then pretty much, She Cheated Again is not on your August EP. It's not on. It's different now.
No.
So, but being that it's been 5 months since we've interviewed you on This Is 50, a lot has changed. You've gotten even bigger.
Yes, sir.
So, talking about it's different now. What's really different?
My bank account's different. My jewelry's different. The music's better. I'm doing more shows. My fan base is bigger. I'm affecting people more in life. I'm affecting positive change into the world more than I was 5 months ago. Just everything's building and growing.
All right. And then on the EP, you have a song called "Why You Leaving," right? So what's up with you and these ladies, man?
Because man, I really went through a crazy situation because I'm the type of person, I put my all into something, and I was in a relationship that I put my all into, and I felt I was fucked over. So there's a lot of songs about that because I still think about it a lot.
All right. And then, but now how are you now with the lady? You out here playing, like you out here pimping on?
No, I don't fuck around. Me personally, I don't have time to be running around, fucking a bunch of different girls. It's just a waste of time. So I'm always looking for the one.
On the project, you mentioned, you was on Tinder. So do you really be still?
There's times when I'm Tinder swipe. I'm human though. Shit happens, you know what I mean? But it doesn't happen consistently. I say the only times I've Tinder swiped was probably when I was like on the road one time, and I was like, man, I'm bored as shit. And I was out by myself, so I was like, man, I got nothing to do. So let me tell you what happens. And sometimes I'll swipe with someone on Tinder, and I won't even fuck them when I meet them. It'll just be like an interesting, because I'm all about meeting people, having an interesting conversation, affecting my personality. Now I know they're gonna go spread my name around. So honestly, I don't match on Tinder just to fuck. And you build fans off Tinder. My female fan base has grown since I just swipe. My female fan base has grown like crazy.
Alright, speak on it. Okay, so artists gonna want to know this. How do you get fans off of Tinder?
Okay, so I put in my bio and I put my dope ass pictures from because you can connect to IG to it. Boom, music artist Dax, right? Looking for something real, which I am. That's not a lie. And then obviously I swipe people I like, but they usually end up going to check out your shit. And I've actually swiped some girls on Tinder. You can connect your Spotify to it, where girls will have my music as their Spotify shit.
That's what's up. So you ever met a fan?
Oh, of course.
All right. What was the first thing a fan has asked you?
Where you from? Tell them Canada.
That's what's up. All right. So let's talk about this EP a little bit more. So, like, what, in your opinion, what's your favorite song on the EP?
All 7 are my favorite songs. I think every single song on the EP is a hit. But if I had to choose one, probably be Cracking on My Own.
Wow.
Because I got it cracking on my own. Just, you know, the song is really a depiction of how I built my music career so far.
Okay, and then touching on Cracking on My Own, like, your journey was pretty much you, like, going one-on-one with your fans.
Yeah.
Okay, so now artists can see that now and be like, hey, so if I do the same thing he's doing, like, I just go in everybody's DMs, everybody's mentions, everybody on everything that to try and get them to listen to my music. A lot of times artists get discouraged from it because, you know, people get tired of you hitting them in their DMs. So tell us about how you just stayed persistent.
I think a lot of artists go about it the wrong way. I see always like some artists that have their shit automated to where it's comments on everything. That's not the way to do it. The way I do it is this: I provide people a service. The service I provide people is I provide them motivation. They can look at me and they can be like, yo, he's doing it and he's trying to motivate me to do it, so I fuck with that guy. And when you provide people a service, a lot of the times people pay for services. And the way I sort of convince my fan base to pay me is by spreading my shit.
All right.
So if you provide a service, people will pay you for your service, not in money, but in dedication to you. So I'm worried about my fan base, my family, I call them. I'm worried about motivating them to chase their dreams, so in turn, they pay me back by pushing my dreams out.
True. And then how many nights did you spend on these social media platforms, just going through, talking to everybody,
Every day.
You still doing that now?
Yeah, it's easy, you know what I mean? Just like if I pick out an hour of the day, I do it all day long though. But if I pick out 1 hour, you pick out 1 hour of the day and just respond to everybody. It doesn't take that long, really. You know, a couple of messages back and forth, and that person's good. They know you can't talk to them the whole fucking day.
True. So what would you say you have a larger fan base of, male or females?
Definitely male.
Definitely male now?
Definitely male. Definitely male.
All right, being that it's different now, like, so for you, if it's different now, what are the shows like as far as the fans' reactions?
Well, whenever I perform, it usually goes pretty crazy. But where I'm at in my career, like I just started performing last December, so it hasn't even been a year since I started performing. So I would say if I hold a show anywhere from about, I could probably bring out anywhere from like 50 to 200 people, depending on how much time I have advertising. But my goal for every show at this point in my career is like, I'd love if I could get 50 to 100 people in the room. I'm just being honest.
All right, and then you're working on going on tour, right? Correct?
Tour got canceled.
So now you're going.
So it wasn't my tour in the first place.
Yeah.
It was a guy named Just the Juice's tour, but like it wasn't going as they had planned. So I personally was like, I don't want to go on that tour. So we just like, they wanted to postpone. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Okay. And then now you've worked with a lot of artists, a lot of your peers now. So who are some people that you feel have given you really good advice as far as making music, as far as how you conduct business?
No one's giving me advice on making music. In terms of business, I learned a lot from Hops and Futuristic. They're like the two guys that really, like, I actually got to talk to and I collaborated with them, so that was dope. So definitely them two in terms of business, but none on making music.
True. And then you're coming up really in the social media era. It's you, DDG, it's like people like Futuristic. Like, how do you feel about older heads and people that are real purists of hip hop? How do you feel about the way they judge you guys? As far as like you guys just coming in and like, oh well, you're only popping because you have a social media following. You don't necessarily have. You didn't really grow this based off talent. It's just based off your social media followings and stuff like that.
I think anyone with like any musical like knowledge like goes back through and looks at like the shit I have would never even like say some shit like that. I feel like it's super disrespectful to take my shit and say that, but I think I earned it. I think everything I have I deserve, and even like more than that. You know what I mean? So I don't think anyone ever questions like what, you know, me in that respect.
True. And then being that you've been playing ball most of your life, and then you transitioned into music, and you still have that competitive spirit.
Oh yeah.
How competitive? How did you transition all that competitive spirit to music?
This is how people, because everyone always asks me like, yo, Dax, how did you build what you've done so fast and boom, boom, boom. And I always say that the same work ethic I put into basketball is just the same shit I put into music. So, when I played basketball, I was the guy that was up at 6 a.m. shooting shots. I was the guy shooting 1,000 shots a day. I was the guy lifting extra weights. I was the guy, just, you know what I mean? I was that guy. So that's the same shit I do for music. I do the extra. I do more than what's required.
True. And then being that you said that you started out doing poetry,
Yeah.
and then you slowly worked on doing more rapping and whatnot in your music, and now you're saying you've worked pretty much now into melody that you found a voice.
Yeah.
So how did you, would you say finding your melody was the most difficult part of recording?
For me, it was just remembering that I could sing. Because, like, for example, like when I was at the University of Montana, I didn't even make music. I was just hooping. But I remember I had to pick an elective, and I randomly picked singing. You know what I mean? And I didn't do no music back then. But it's like I realized the other day, I was like, man, I've been singing my whole life. Like, I was in choir as a child. My mom put me in it. So it was just me like remembering that, yo, you can sing, and then going to the studio and being confident to be like, okay, let me just sing on this shit. And it worked out.
That's what's up. And then how do you feel about the whole streaming era now? Now that it's so easy for artists to put their music out, distribute their music, pretty much make their own money off it without any type of backing whatsoever, like you've been doing.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about how convenient the streaming era is?
I love it. The only thing I hate about it is that people can buy streams. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of just like cats who are just like, it isn't what it is. You know what I mean? It's really like tricking a lot of these like, it's even tricking labels. And that's what people don't understand. You're only hurting yourself when you do that shit. Why? Because once a label signs you and they realize you can't actually bring those numbers in, you're fucked. So people don't understand buying streams, it's good for that look, but it's not going to be like sustainable in the long run. You know what I mean? So the streaming there is dope, but it's also dangerous because it provides like a fake, actual depiction of what someone's fan base really is.
True. And then this was your first EP that you put out, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so how do you feel that now it's out there and everybody's having such positive responses to it?
I feel great. I feel like people are starting to slowly realize that, like, you know, in terms of just like music-wise, like, you know, I'm up there.
So how did it feel like the night before you pulled it out? Were you nervous?
I won't say nervous. I was more nervous for the EP release party, but I wasn't nervous. But the day before I put it out, I was more just like, I just hope it does well, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure it does well. But I felt like felt confident in it. That's how I felt.
True. And then after it was released and all the work that you put into it, listen back to it now. What are some things that you learned from it, or what are some things you would try to do different? What are some things that you was like, okay, I'm gonna try it next time I work on my next project. I'm gonna do it this way.
What I learned is just that the music industry is just money. For my next project, I'm gonna just make sure I save up more money to push it. That's about it.
True. Nothing as far as creative?
No, not really. I'm gonna always keep my projects the same. I'm gonna have some singing tracks and some rap tracks.
Okay, but that's an argument that a lot of artists have as far as that when they do both.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever worry about fans wanting more of you being lyrical as far as you singing, or do you have where you feel like you give enough on the album for everybody involved, or for every fan?
Yeah, I just like, when I put out anything I put out, I just make sure the person I'm pleasing is myself. So it's like if I want 3 or 4 singing tracks on there and like 3 or 4 rap tracks, like I just make sure I'm happy with it, because at the end of the day I gotta sleep with it. So for I thought I put 4 singing songs on there and then 3 rap ones, and I felt good with that. Like, let's go. Because I feel like if you worry about like what every fan wants, it's gonna drive yourself crazy. So I was just worried about what Dax wants.
True. But do fans have a say in your music whatsoever? Like, if you had a percentage of how much fans have input, what would you say?
No, they don't have any input.
Any? But they're the ones.
But they fuck with me because they fuck with me. You know what I mean? I want my fans to fuck with me as a person. So just whatever Dax puts out, we rolling with it, because I love Dax and he motivates us and like he's about fucking with us. So I don't want it to be like, oh man, shit, he put out a singing track, I ain't fucking with that. I want it to just be like, yo, I fuck with Dax as a person. Just like Cardi B. It doesn't matter what Cardi B puts out. She could be singing, she could be rapping, she could be spitting on the track. They're still gonna listen to it. And I want to be that type of person.
And let's speak on your involvement with your support of mental health. Mm-hmm. Like, what got you into that? Like, is it somebody that you knew that has it, or is it just something that you stumbled upon? And
my take on mental health is I believe in the power of repetition. And I believe that if you tell somebody something, if somebody hears something enough, I believe they'll start to believe it. So that's like how the whole "You're Worth It" song came about, just constantly telling people you're worth it. So I'm always just in the fact, like, if someone constantly hears that they're worth it, they'll start to believe it eventually. And I feel like people who not, they just haven't heard it enough, and they don't tell themselves that enough. So that's how my whole mental like health involvement is just off of not the problem, the solution.
Oh man, what's so being that it's different now.
Yes, sir. It's different.
So, what are some things that you feel like people didn't catch off the album? What are some, okay, so like, you know how you read the comments of people like, hey, this is dope, like they like this parts of the album. Like, what are some things that people haven't touched on yet that you feel like, man, they should have totally talked about that?
I feel like everyone who heard it like touched on everything they needed to say. I just feel like there's enough people haven't heard this shit yet. That's just how I feel about it. It's different now. Just not enough people have heard it. And I mean, like for example, like yes, I don't got time to talk about that shit. But I was in the car with some people yesterday randomly after I went to a club, and I was showing them these different. They're like, "Wow, this is so awesome. Is that you?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, that's me." So that's just like people just haven't heard it. You know what I mean?
Man, but you got millions of followers, and you be like, man, you ain't heard about me, you ain't heard. Okay, let's talk about that then. So you got millions of streams, millions of followers, and people still haven't heard about you. Like, do you feel like is that proof right there? That
well, I don't have millions of streams yet. I got a couple million streams. I don't have millions of followers yet. You know what I mean? I don't have a million YouTube subscribers. So I'm working my way there. I feel like once I get there, it'll be game over.
But you definitely have enough to make an impact. So is it like do you ever like is it proof that you be like, man, I still got a lot
oh yeah, I'm never satisfied. I'm not even close. I know I'm like 1% out of 100%, I'm on like 1% right now.
True.
So it's like I just know that for every 100 people who know my shit, there's 10 million that don't.
True. And then you got yourself, you have a lot of artists that look at your numbers and get inspired and try and study what you did to pretty much follow through. But like a lot of mainstream artists don't really educate younger artists.
Yeah.
And what are some things that you feel like you would really press to artists really looking up to you?
I would press, man, that you just gotta want it, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'll be like, you know, a lot of bigger artists aren't necessarily gonna say what they do because it's just like some of the stuff is just like there's money involved, and unless you want to get that type of money, you're not gonna do it. You know what I mean? I always tell people like I tell people every single thing I do to get to where I got to. It doesn't fear me to tell people that because I know 99% of people won't do it. So I give the game, like, you know, that's what you gotta do, but it's really just comes to a matter of somebody wanting it. And if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to make it happen.
True. And then, so, I guess what would be what are some things artists ask you, like as far as like, cause they look at your numbers and they'll be like, yo man, how'd you do this? But what are some things that they ask you and you be like?
They be asking me, oh man, who do you pay? Who does your marketing? You know, who does your social media? Or, you know, what, like basically they ask me for cheat codes. Because they think there's some cheat codes to this shit. And I always just have to talk about there's no cheat codes. It's a matter of, you know, you got to talk to every single person that exists on the world. When I started this shit, I put a number on my wall in my room. I put 1 million. I said, if I can individually talk to 1 million people by myself, that I will blow up. Because I know my shit's good. So if you know your shit is good, there's no reason you're not talking to a minimum of 500 people a day. Whether that's DMs, whether that's your live streaming and 60 people are watching you, that's 60 right there. You gotta motivate them to share. You go on YouTube Live, then that same day you get another 20 people there, boom, that's 20. And you go to your Facebook Live, then you DM some people here. You should be talking to 500 people a day, minimum. So if you're not doing that, you don't really want it.
Yeah, definitely artists that hit you up all the time, like, hey, look, I ain't got time for that, but look, can you just tell me who I gotta pay, who I gotta get?
Yeah, some people want it that way. They don't understand once you start building that shit yourself, those people will find you.
And then another thing that I'm sure you don't get a lot is how long did it take you to discover your sound and hone in on your sound?
I would say my sound is sort of like all around. I would say the first day I wrote my poems and I sort of knew like how I was gonna do it. I knew that the singing would come eventually, but like I just wasn't ready to do it. But like I knew I wanted to like put words that meant something onto song. Like I can't just make some random song. There's always like a purpose behind some shit. So that's like I would say that's my sound. Purpose. I like that. It's cool. That's horrible, nigga.
He said I'm gonna use that. Today's word is purpose, y'all.
My sound is purpose. That's my sound.
True. Alright, and then So now that we heading into 2019, man,
Big year.
what are some goals you have for yourself in 2019?
2019, by the end of 2019, I'll be one of the biggest hip hop artists in the world. That's a big goal. I want to set up a tour in 2019. I want to accompany a big artist on a tour in 2019. I want to do that once with a huge artist. I want to have 2 big features from 2 artists at the top, somewhere mid-level to the top of the game in 2019. I want to do at least 30 interviews in 2013, whether that's blogs, write-ups, anywhere from 30 to 50 that are like good, reputable ones. I want to put out like 2 EPs and probably 8 singles, probably like anywhere from 10 to 15 remixes. I want to jump a tax bracket. I'm not sure what all tax brackets are.
I mean, you got thousands, millions,
Billions. Yeah, I want to make 6 figures in 2019.
What would you do if another artist, you were doing a show, and another artist bought 200 tickets to your show to make sure nobody shows up?
That's revenue.
Would you still do the show?
What? I'm going hard. I go hard regardless.
But it's gonna be 200 people in the front. Ain't gonna be 200 people in the front row.
My show's a party for me. If I'm having a party, they're having a party. So I'm gonna have my party regardless.
Alright, that makes sense. Alright, so what? Being that you've been in music for over 2-3 years now, right?
2 years.
Alright, so what would you say is some of the most what would you say is some of the most harsh lessons that you've learned from music?
Just spending money on the wrong things. I'm not a splurger at all in terms of money, but I spent, there's just some shit I didn't even spend money on. It was all for my career, but I look back and I'm like, damn, I could have saved that. How many $1,000? I'm not gonna speak on it. All I know is, but I learned from it. I'll never do that again. So.
Yeah, you gotta learn. You gotta learn. All right. So, what are some things that you've learned as far as like on your journey of music that you'd be like, this is like priceless. This is something that you
priceless. I got this. Boom. This is the biggest thing I will ever tell anybody watching this video right now. The power of one person is crazy. You never know who you're talking to. One thing I've learned in this music shit is that the motherfucker who DMs you, who doesn't even have a profile picture and 0 followers, could be the person that changes your life. So never underestimate anybody.
Alright. And obviously we have the word of the day is purpose. So, artists, you have a lot of new artists that really think that they can't succeed in music because they don't have a team. You've done it all by yourself, pretty much, mostly all by yourself. You funded yourself, you made your own music, you've obviously got your followers and through marketing and whatnot. Like, what would you say kept you inspired? What kept you like driven to like go to that next page and hit up that potential fan? What kept you just?
A couple things. First, one of my biggest inspirations is anger. Anger really inspires me to push and just like I get angry. Sometimes I'll even like create anger for myself to like work harder. Anger is one thing. Also my purpose. My purpose is to put something into the world that will last forever. A lot of people, they lose motivation because of their purpose. They have no purpose. They don't know why they're doing something. So it's like you can't run on. It's just like you're gonna play better when you feed your body right. So you work like I'm gonna work on an empty stomach. You know what I mean? So it's like if you don't have anything you're fueling from, like you're not gonna have the motivation you need to sustain that amount of work. So I'm trying to put something in the world that lasts forever. That's a lot. It's hard. So that's like always my fuel. So I'm always just like motivated by that. Anger. Disrespect is a big motivational factor for me. Like whenever someone disrespects me in any type of way, that shit pushes me. So I'm searching for disrespect in different places. Those are probably the top three: my mom, my dad, parents. That's about it.
True. And then how do you handle trolling?
Trouble.
Like you got people that are fans and they want you to respond, so they'll say stuff that hey, he's gonna get a reaction out of this. How do you handle this trolling?
I always tell, honestly, you go on my shit, you don't see a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of positivity on my shit, but like for other people, I always say any hater is a confused lover. That's what I always say. Any person who hates on you is a confused lover. And if they hate on you, imagine how bad they hate on themselves. Because if they have the balls to say that to you, Imagine what they're saying to themselves in their head, which is why they're probably out where they're at. So I don't even, when I see a troll or a hater, I feel bad for them. And I'm usually like, yo, bro, whatever you say, that's cool, bro. But, I hope you're good because I know if you're saying that shit to me, only God knows what you're saying to yourself.
Yeah.
So I pray for them things. I pray for trolls and haters. You got some demons.
True. And then, all right, so being that, you have a strong fan base, what are the DMs like?
My DMs are all positive DMs looking to further either my career or me helping people and giving them advice on their shit. Positivity is something I put out. There's no, I don't, people always say, we probably have a lot of girls in DM. I don't see a lot of that shit because I'm always responding to people. So it's like, if I post a story about, hey, hit me up if you want a clip, I'll get like 700 people hitting me up. So I'm not seeing all these other things. So like, I don't see a lot of shit. Like, if there's any girls hitting me up like that, there might be one message and then it's gone. So I forget. You feel me? So it's nothing crazy, man. It's positivity everywhere in my DMs.
True. All right, give us a story, a music story. Something that has to do with you either recording something that happened, maybe a fan, a groupie story, anything like that. What's a good story that you got?
I don't got no groupie stories. I remember I opened up, the night I opened up for Juice WRLD was wild. I forget where it was at. It was like a dope ass shot, I killed it. So after, I just remember like, I got a little bit drunk, and I just remember like, we were in all these different places, and somehow, like it always ends up like I leave the club somewhere, and it's like yesterday, someone's like, and I end up getting in the car. So I got in this car with these people. And I was with Fab, my videographer, and Jacob.
Yeah.
So we end up at this crib, and there's cocaine everywhere. I've never done drugs, I don't do drugs. There's cocaine everywhere, and it was like a swingers party. And I was just like, how the fuck did I end up here? So we were out of there, but it was just crazy how I was like, all of a sudden everyone's snorting cocaine and motherfuckers are talking about like how they're gonna switch off and shit. I was like, yo.
Well, I'm out.
Please, I'm out. Yeah, just some crazy stories, man.
Yeah, that's what's he was like, hey, we at the wrong party.
Yeah, please.
You gotta get out of there. Call Uber, that's what Uber is for, man.
I'm gonna lift.
Get out of there. Either way, Lyft, Uber, Bird.
Shout out to Lyft. Let me get a sponsorship. Okay, come on.
Hey, it might. Hey, you never know. So now that you guys, tell us about the first time somebody asked you either for a picture or for an autograph.
I don't remember the first time, but I love it. I always encourage people. I try to say, yo, if you see me, walk up to me and let's get this picture shit going. Let's have a little conversation real quick. Because I'm just I'm trying to put something where that lasts forever. And a big thing to do that, you got to talk to people and affect your energy on them so they can then affect that on other people. And that's how you live forever. So I'm always about just like picture, whatever. So there was, the other day at 24-Hour Fitness, a couple of dudes came up to me and I was lit. We had a little conversation. We was talking about, getting big and shit. And we took some pictures and shit.
Suffered some heartbreaks and all. But you have a strong fan base at the same time. A lot of lovely ladies. So, I'm sure a lot of ladies want to know, what kind of girl does Dax look for in a lady?
I look for just a loyal girl, man. I tell you what, loyalty trumps everything.
Man, I feel bad.
You can love and not be loyal, but you can't be loyal and not love.
Man, I feel bad for this girl that broke your heart. What? She inspired a lot of great music, but ooh. So loyalty, huh? So they ain't gotta be able to cook, they ain't gotta.
I cook. Cooking that's a plus. I'm not looking for a girl who can cook. That's gotta be a criteria. If that comes with it, that's great.
Strong conversation.
Oh yeah, definitely gotta be able to talk. Obviously beautiful. Prerequisite, you know what I mean?
Okay. All right. And then you got a lot of artists that pretty much that still deal with relationships and whatnot. So, in your opinion, being that you've been through this, you're a recording artist and you've had a relationship at the same time. What are some things you would give artists as far as how to still pursue their music career and still have a stable relationship?
What I say is people gotta understand is man and woman are meant to be together. Some people say you can't have a relationship and be the greatest person. I look at niggas like Will Smith, you know what I mean? So it's like the right woman will push a man to be greater and motivate him to be greater. You just gotta make sure you find that right one. So I'm always like looking for a girl like a lot of my big successes came when I was in a relationship. Because you're more focused, you're not running around trying to get other girls. You know what I mean? So that's what I always say, it's like you don't need to do the run around, fuck a bunch of bitches shit. Because honestly, that'll probably take away from what you need to be focusing on. Because girls take time. And if you're dealing with multiple, that's a lot of time. But if you find just one who understands what you're doing, y'all is connected, y'all just, vibing and boom, she understands, she's pushing you to be greater. So I would say, man, find you a good girl, man.
And then, well, a lot of artists, feel like females are, you have to seem available, but even though you're not available, you have to appear available. So, a lot of dudes feel like that's the only way they're going to keep their fan base as far as females go. So, do you agree with that, or do you just feel like, look, man, you don't have to appease to all the females out there that are your fans, just because you have a girl, you have to still respect your lady.
Yeah.
So, but how do you balance the two? I would say, how do you be like, okay, you still need your female fan base because females are majority of the consumers in music. And still keep your lady happy.
I think, a lot of girls want what they can't have. A lot of guys do too. I don't think necessarily you having being in a relationship will hurt your fan base. I think that's sort of like a misconception dudes want to come up with. You know what I mean?
True.
Cause I had a girl and she was on my shit and my shit was still doing great and growing. You know what I mean? So it wasn't I just think you just gotta, that's, at the end of the day, you having a girlfriend's not gonna fuck up your music shit. If you're really if you're working hard like you need to be and the music's good, there's no way a girl is gonna fuck up your fan base. If anything, your pictures with the girl are gonna get more likes than your other shit.
That's true, that's a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Break down how, as far as execution goes. So you got the album, you got your PR, you got your fan base, you got the videos ready to go that's backing the album. Yeah. Explain the importance behind making sure all that goes out is executed properly at the same time and whatnot.
At the same time, that's a tough question. I think you gotta make sure it comes out at the same time. I would always talk about this, I always like this, prepare for the storm. That's what I always say. I used to live in Kansas, it's a tornado area and stuff like that. You gotta be prepared for the storm. So do not put out one single not having other ones ready. Do not put out one video without having other ones ready. You know what I mean? Do not make an album without having songs for the next one potentially ready. Because you're just setting yourself up for failure. Because if that shit blows up and you have nothing to follow up with, you're fucked. So I just always tell people prepare for the storm.
That's what's up. And then you just did Rolling Loud in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Tell us what that was like. Because Rolling Loud is huge now for artists. That's the new big thing in hip hop. So what was that like for you going out there and just performing for all those people?
It was great. I killed it. I was 3rd or 4th on, so there wasn't the crowd wasn't full. You know what I mean? But for the people that were in the crowd, halfway, it was probably 1/3 of the way full. For the people that were there, I think it was a legendary performance. I had so many DMs from kids after I performed. So for the people that saw it, they were like, "Yo, this motherfucker's dope," and I gained a lot of cool, loyal fans off of it. But now it's just trying to follow up and do it again.
Right. You think you're gonna top this next year? You're gonna get at the...
Well, so far I didn't get on the roll now for LA. I was disappointed in that, but disappointed in me only lasts for a day. So now I'm just on to the next thing, trying to find my way onto it. If not, I'll still try.
True. So you really are a learning experience for a lot of artists because you have all this, you have an amassed a following, and you still have all these hurdles that you still have to go through.
So many hurdles, man. The music industry is more than just putting out dope music and dope videos. A lot of relationships you have to build and hurdles you got to jump to get to the top.
True. And then last question, being that you're at the point you're at now, and you're pretty much at the turning point from either going major or remaining independent, what are your thoughts on it? Are you ready to just elevate to the pros, or you just want to stay independent and stay?
No, my thought process is I'm gonna be mainstream, one of the biggest hip hop artists in the world. I do not want to stay at the bottom feeders. I want to be at the top with the big dogs, doing what the big dogs do on a big dog everyday basis.
True.
I'm not comfortable down here. and I will not stay down here.
All right, well, hey, all right, so you got the new project out, everybody ain't heard it yet. So why don't we just, cut a quick promo to just be like, hey man, this is why you need to check out my album.
Yeah. New project out, it's different now. I would really appreciate if you go check it out, and if you do, I promise you won't just, ooh. You know what? Mistakes happen in life. I promise your ass won't be disappointed if you go and watch that shit.
Make sure you go, all right, make sure you check out It's Different Now. Make sure you check out All Night Long, right?
All Night Long, No Capping, Why Is He Leaving, Cracking on My Own, No Respect, Gotta Get It, and an epic rap song called Did It First.
All right, featuring Futuristic and OT Genesis.
OT Genesis.
And then, we got this new, make sure you go check out the new video, She Cheated Again.
She Cheated Again, it's about to go viral. By the time you watch this interview, that shit will have 2 million views.
Man, 3 days it already had 300-something thousand views, right?
About there.
Man, so, in a month or so, it'll be at million, you gotta stay pace.
Be on the lookout for part 3.
Wait, it's a part 3 to
It's
this?
a part 3 where we finally, the fans finally meet the girl.
What?
Sit down, me and her, sit down.
What?
And the song is a conversation between me and her about what went down. Already filmed, already done.
That's what's up. All right, man, make sure you guys check out this guy right here. If you don't know by now, this is Dax. And, what else you want to leave with the people?
I want to say shout out to my nigga Boom for bringing me in. I appreciate everybody and anybody who shows me any type of love, and it's always reciprocated, and I'm happy for life.
All right, and make sure if you want to learn everything there is about Dax, make sure you go check out the previous This Is 50 interview. It'll tell you everything about his start, his basketball career, and what he's been, everything leading up to this point. So it's pretty much like a 2-part.
I was listening to a song by a group called They. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yeah, D-Y?
No, They.
Oh, no, I don't know
Some
that.
song, and inspired me to write a poem randomly.
We got this is a 10-part series I have with This Is 50. From now up until when I'm at the very top of the music industry. And that'll be part 10.
All right, man, this is 50. We out. Peace.